The News Day continues here on One News Now Business. I'm Jago Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The government's budget deficit has widened in August following a decline in revenues. Data from the Finance Department showed that government revenues dropped by 6.58%. This as tax revenues went down by 5.82% and non-tax revenues have slipped by 17.05%. The overall decline translates to 133 billion peso fiscal gap last month from the about 72 billion pesos a year ago. Finance Secretary Benjamin Jokno attributed the slump in revenue collection to the suspension of work due to heavy rains. Meanwhile, state spending rose by about 9.66% or 443 billion pesos in August from 404 billion pesos a year ago. The Bangko Sentral says the impact of its monetary policy tightening will have a long lag and will be felt long into next year. BSP Chief Eli Remolona expects the effects of tightening to persist for 3 quarters up to the first half of 2024. In fact, Remolona says previous rate hikes are still weighing on economic activity. The BSP chief also ruled out a rate cut anytime soon. The central bank kept its key interest rate steady for a 4th straight month at a near 16-year high of 6.25%. In other news, motorists may finally see a rollback in oil products after weeks of increases. Unioil Philippines projects that prices of diesel would go down by up to 40 centavos per liter on Tuesday. Gasoline prices are likewise expected to become less expensive by up to 35 centavos a liter. The Energy Department attributed the adjustment to the warning of the U.S. Federal Reserve on higher interest rates. The rollback will end the 11 straight weeks of upward adjustments. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. GMA Network's rollout of artificial intelligence or AI-generated sportscasters sparked a debate online. GMA Network debuted Maya and Marco at the NCAA Season 99 men's basketball tournament last Sunday. The public, however, had been quick to air their concerns online about the risks of employing AI. The UP Broadcasting Association flagged the move, saying that it sets an alarming precedent, which would impact the future of broadcasting and those who aspire to be in the industry. The National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, has also urged newsrooms to address job security concerns among media workers by developing policies on the use of AI. The NUJP says the goal should be to help media workers instead of replacing them. In a statement, however, GMA Integrated News' Senior Vice President Oliver Amoroso clarifies that Maya and Marco are merely presenters and were not meant to take the place of actual journalists. He also explains that the AI-powered sportscasters were created to complement the human aspect of their coverage. For its part, the network also introduced a lineup of courtside reporters and anchors, but this was overshadowed by the AI news. Joining us for the discussion on artificial intelligence's impact on the broader workforce, we have with us on the show University of the Philippines Professor Benjamin Vallejo. He is a contributor to the university's Principles for Responsible Artificial Intelligence, and he's also a science advice mentor at the International Network for Governmental Science Advice. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning, Diego. Glad to be here.
Yes, of course, sir. It's been viral this last few days about the report of a AI sportscaster by GMA. Although there are a lot of concerns about job displacements because of these anchors, are these concerns valid? How is the impact to the entire business landscape?
Yeah, any technological innovation will have some impact on the jobs market.
Yes.
You know, and this is actually, if you look at the history of science and technology, new innovations will result in some job sectors will have to adapt or innovate in order to meet the challenges. So it's the same thing with AI. You know, when industries became more mechanized around 200 years ago, this was also an issue, but eventually society adapted and the skill sector also adopted. So same thing with AI.
But sir, do we see this advancement that GMA has replacing news anchors in the immediate future, or it still has a long way to go?
Yeah, that's the question about AI. No, in the more creative sectors and communication sectors, this is actually becoming a major point of discussion. No? However, for the manufacturing and in other production sectors, AI could assist in making the manufacturing processes and information processing sectors more efficient, and it may replace some of the jobs that are lower in the processing sector.
Okay.
And the question is actually on the more creative and the more integrative sectors of the job market.
Okay.
So that includes the journalism sector, and also, as we said, I noted in the social media debate about the AI anchors, that would also be an area in which AI will probably impact.
Yeah, when you first hear about it, it sounds really exciting, but where do we start to draw the line to make sure it really doesn't threaten job security or doesn't replace humans holding traditional professions? Or do we really have to accept that this is the future?
I think we have to accept that this is how it will be. Okay? In the next decade or so, we will see more AI applications in the daily life, and most likely people will begin to accept that as more or less normal. No? But in that span of time, I think we need to what we call rethink of what are the job skills that are needed in an economy or global economy in which AI has a large part to play in content and information creation.
Now, sir, UP is the first Philippine university to craft guidelines for responsible AI use. What significant developments can you share with us regarding this?
Okay, the question of AI in the academic sector is a particularly uh, very relevant one because it's actually in school in which students learn how to create content, how to make sure that the content is attributed, as well as they start to learn the legalities of content that is created. No? So the question now in the academic sector is how much should AI be or make part or make up the learning and creative process in education? So that's the question. And the major, we have to come up with a consensus, okay, that where and how can AI be used in the learning and education sector. I think there's a ongoing consensus because some of the suggestions I sent the University Committee on AI is essentially what my students discussed about. And it's about the proper attribution or declaration by which AI was used in their academic and school work.
Okay.
Yeah. So with industry, probably there might be a similar approach.
Okay.
Up to when can AI be used?
But with all that you mentioned, sir, now about pros and cons and when should it be used, what then would your recommendation be for businesses and other industries on developing AI policies? Okay.
Now, it's a balance, I think. No, I'm not really a labor expert on here, no, but it's a balance that is protecting some of the workers' rights, okay? Especially with respect to the content that they produce. Right? I think that's the major issue in the previous. I heard about the strikes in Hollywood, the script writers, screenwriters. Okay, so it's protecting their creative or intellectual property. That's one. Okay? The second one is actually making the workforce adjust to an AI economy. Okay? And that probably would fall on the schools. No?
Okay.
Now, there have been some discussions on regulating AI. Now, it's not only here, but also in the UK and in the European Union about proposals to regulate AI. Now, that seemed to be a gray area yet. Okay, how will the law regulate AI? Okay? That's a question that needs to be answered, really.
Yeah, this is going to be a long discussion, but unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But we do hope to have you back on the show to talk more about this pressing issue that's happening right now. Thank you very much for joining us. University of the Philippines, Professor Benjamin Vallejo. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, and it's a pleasure. Thank you. Good day.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Jago Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.